Well, that worked like a charm. If I could cut a straight line now, that would be even better. But that's going to work out just fine. What I'm doing here is I'm installing a line back there. We've got 1, 2, 3 pastures back there. And so I'm trying to set up automatic watering systems. So the only thing that needs to go in this little ditch I am creating, I gotta get my little jackhammer out now and jackhammer that. The only thing that needs to go in there is 1/2 inch PEX, 1/2 inch PEX. For farm duty, most people use that black pipe. I don't know what it's called, but basically it's just for like farm usage. Whenever I was a kid, growing up in Kentucky, we used that stuff. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. It's black pipe, and it's been around for decades and decades and decades. And people use it to do all kinds of stuff. You know, use it to run long runs out to pastures, to water their cows, all kinds of things. What we used it for, and some of you guys are going to think that I'm pulling your leg on this. Some of you are going to think that it's gross and stuff, and others are going to go, I connect with you. So I grew up in Kentucky, and up on top of the hill was a pond. I gotta say, it was pretty nasty. It was muddy water. And that's what we used. We would siphon off of that pond down to our house, and that was used to flush the toilets and take baths in. And we were perfectly clean, guys. But to somebody who didn't understand that way of life, they would probably look at it and go, "That's so disgusting." And it is. It's pretty nasty. But you know, we made do. We did what we had to do, and it was all good, you know. But the point that I'm trying to make is, a lot of you guys are going to go, why would you use PEX? That stuff is expensive. Well, PEX is a lot tougher. It's literally a tougher material, and it's probably thicker as well. But every summer, I had to follow that black line down off of the hill. And, you know, we had probably 300 yards of it, and I would start at the top and run down the hill holding my hand on that hose to check for leaks. When my hand got wet, I would stop and I'd look for a leak, and if it had a leak, I would patch it, and I'd keep going. You know, some summers there wasn't a leak at all, but most of the time there was a leak. And that line, why did it have a leak? There wasn't anything up there poking holes in it. The leaks were always unexplained. And, well, with this PEX line, I am not in any way taking chance, because I don't want to have to dig this shit up again every year and fix the leaks. So that's why I got the better line. And in this concrete right here, whenever I chip that up, I'm going to have to do a lot of chipping on that to get that little channel cleared out. This is the channel, right? I'm only running 1/2 inch PEX, so it doesn't have to be a big channel. But I will use my my little jackhammer and jackhammer all this out. But what that's going to do is that's going to create a bed of shards. underneath, because this, remember guys, I live in an old nursing home. Everything here is commercial grade. This is high strength concrete, right? And so that means it was harder for my machine to even cut through it. And it's thick. It's thick. I did not go all the way through it. So however I'm going to bust that up, it is going to leave shards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of 1-inch PEX, and if the half-inch PEX doesn't slide right through there like a perfect sleeve, then I'll cut lengthwise on that 1-inch PEX and wrap it around the half-inch PEX and put it back down in here. That way I've got a nice sleeve around it right here where it really matters, because even if that PEX is not moving, the water inside is. And whenever you've got a plastic line that is up against something hard over the years, you know, this might take decades, but I don't want it to happen at all. But over the years, just simply the water flowing through that line is going to create enough of a problem whenever it's leaning up against something sharp to where it will wear a hole inside that, or it'll wear a hole in that pipe, and then it'll leak. So anyways, the Dolmar, or the Wacker, that's their industrial brand. It's just like Poland making sauce for craftsmen. Same thing, but you know, Dolmar is a very high quality piece of machinery, and Wacker has nothing but very high quality industrial machines. And so Dolmar 309 got used for this chop saw. And I do believe this chop saw was completely intended for cutting nothing but metal. And as you saw, there was no dust. Adding that water hose like that, it was great. No dust whatsoever. And the thing ran full tilt for 20 minutes. Something like that, you know, full throttle the whole way. I ran out one gas tank and filled up another. So that's heavy duty, man. That's hard on a saw. That is really, really hard on a saw. And but you know, to run just full out, no brakes. Anyways, I'm happy. I got that Wacker at an estate sale. I bought it, and I bought a home light $550 at an estate sale. Neither one of them, well, the guy said, I know that the Wacker runs. I've used it. He said, but I don't know anything about the home light. Well, there's a home light $550. If you know anything about that, that's a good saw. That's a big saw. And anyways, so he wanted $160 for the Wacker, and I said, throw in the home light and I'll give you your $160. And he said, okay. Well, the home light, the only thing that it needed, aside from, you know, fuel lines, stuff like that, you know, they have their coil. Is it the coil? Yeah, I guess it's the coil. The coil pack actually sits directly on the spark plug, right? Well, one of the known things with them, and I only know this stuff because I ask, guys. Don't get this idea that I'm like, oh, I know all. Nope, I ask. The forums used to be great back in the day, but then all of a sudden, I can't stand the forums now because people just sit back, they make fun of people, they bitch, drama. I can't stand it. It's awful. But what has taken place with the forums are tightly regulated and modified Facebook groups. So if you're not on a Facebook group, find them. I can't say this enough. My favorite is Chainsaw Repair. They got a strong base, and there ain't no freaking political bullshit. I hate political bullshit. Even if it's on my side of the aisle, I don't care. I don't want to hear that. It is a chainsaw group, guys. Quit throwing out little political things. It's stupid. And religion, too. Even if it's what I believe in, there ain't no place in that. So, anyways, that's a little bit of a rant, isn't it? The Chainsaw Repair group on Facebook is like 46,000 members, something like that. and it's tightly modified by a lot of different people. And, you know, if somebody does some BS, you know, you just holler at one of those modifiers and be like, hey, kick that guy out of here. Delete that comment. That's just stupid, you know. So anyways, all of my questions I ask on places like that, and they tell me. And now, roundabout, I'm sorry about beating around the bush here. I'm bad about that. The 550, the only real problem that it had was on that coil pack that sits directly on the spark plug. There's a spring that goes from the coil pack to the spark plug. Boop, it's just a spring. All I had to do is reach in there and grab it with a set of needle nose pliers, tug on it a little bit to stretch it out, made contact, thing ran great. Ended up selling that thing to a guy, I think in Wisconsin. I think I sold it for like $500. So again, this is how this little hobby pays for itself. If I was to add up the hours of work that I do, then it would not pay for itself. If I was expecting to get paid a wage from doing this, absolutely it wouldn't pay for itself. But what it does do is I get something, I fix it, I get use out of it. All right, so it pays for itself that way. I didn't have to go out and buy a $1,500 concrete saw. I get it, I fix it up, I have fun with it a couple times, and then I sell it and I make a little bit of profit, enough for me to buy another project. So, and if you've hung in this long, I probably won't do the video today, but coming soon. Dun dun dun. There's all the pecs. But look, I just picked these two up today. I picked these two up at a little yard sale type thing that was right like on the side of the road. Looked like they had nothing but total trash there, and my wife totally did not want to stop. But I was like, oh, I'm stopping. I stopped, and so what we have is they're both. If you're not familiar with these saws, which you probably are, but if you're not, these are identical in make, right? Now one is a little bit bigger than the other, but all of the parts that's on this one will work for that one, and vice versa. What we have here, they're both made by Poland. This is a Craftsman branded Poland, and it's the 3.4. I think the 3.4 is 56 cc's. Maybe it's 57 or 58, but I think it's 56. Heck, it might be 54 or 55. But anyways, not important. All we're missing here, seemingly, is just the filter and a top cover. So if anybody has a filter and top cover they're willing to give me on the cheap, please holler at me. Oh, and it's missing the choke too. Look at that, they got a wire there. So I'm missing the choke, filter, and top cover. The rest of it's all there. And now the exciting one. Ooh, baby, you see that? That's the big boy. This is the 4000. This is the biggest version of this model that Poland made. And they're pretty hard to come by. I mean, not the hardest in the world to come by, but you know, they didn't make as many of these as they did like the 3.4s. Now I had a 3.4 and I didn't like it. I felt like it was underpowered, slow revving, heavy, and it was hard as hell for me to start. It was real finicky, right? And then I've never had one of these though. So I've been told the reason why my 3.4 was so difficult to start and finicky is because it had the big carb on it, just like the 4000 does. And so whereas it's properly sized for the 4000, you put that same carburetor on the 3.4, it has a bit of a hard time with it, because that's why the carburetor has to be set perfect. Otherwise, you'll flood out the plug. And that's what I was told. I don't know if it's true, but I tell you what, the guy who told that to me, he knows a hell of a lot more about chainsaws than I do. Walker, if you're out there, I'm talking about you, buddy. But this one I have very high hopes for. Very, very, very high hopes for, because this is a full 65 cc's. This should be a good running saw. Both of them have great compression. And yeah, later later on this week or next week, something like that, I'll probably do a video on those, and I'll definitely do a video on them. But anyways, just saying. Guess how much I got them for? The pair, $30. Righteous. I love it.